Welcome to the Football Show here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Kerry Pollock, Tam McManus, Neil Lennon and Alan Ruff join me on this Friday. Here's what's coming up on today's show.
Philippe Clement reveals Connor Goldson will miss the rest of the season, but insists the defender will stay with the Rangers squad to support them in the title run-in.
We made a scan and we see he has a tear in his medial ligament, so he will be out for the rest of the season.
Brendan Rodgers wins the Premiership Manager of the Month award for April after racking up 3 wins and 1 draw with Celtic last month. Stephen Naismith believes an early goal for Hearts could turn the Parkhead crowd against the home team as the Hoops bid to win a vital 3 points.
Like we've seen when we were there before, if you get a goal and you start controlling the game, you can turn the crowd.
Derken McInnes vows to enjoy the remainder of the season as Kilmarnock gets set to face title-chasing Rangers in a crunch clash on Sunday afternoon.
Because of the work of the players, we've now got the benefit of just trying to enjoy. I've said that to the players, I want to enjoy it more. I need to have a word with myself about that, you know what I mean?
Before we get into the meats and bones of it all, it's my football show debut. I'm going to ask you three if you can remember the best and worst debuts you've either watched, played alongside or managed. Have a think about that. You don't need to answer right now. We'll come back to it at the end of the show. But award season is upon us. The SPFL Manager of the Year candidates are Dundee boss Tony Docherty, Kilmarnock manager Daizen McInnes and Falkirk's John McGlynn. Peter has been championing John McGlynn. Neil, who's your winner and why?
Good question. I mean, you could throw a blanket over the three of them. I mean, John's done remarkably well to go unbeaten all season with Falkirk. So you'd have to put it, you know, Derek for me, I think, has done a great job. You know, he's sort of stabilised Kilmarnock and then taken them into 4th place. So Dale would probably just get the nod for me. You know, and that's not being disrespectful to Tony or John. Probably Dale.
Ruffy, pick a winner?
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, I'm a bit bemused why it's not 4 candidates and it's only 3. It's always been 4, you know, and I'd love to know why they cut it down to 3. But the 3 candidates are worthy winners, you know. I just find that things seem to have changed now. It used to be it was a winner or somebody who's won a double or a treble or and now it seems to be, you know, what you've done with what you've got at your disposal, you know, which isn't a bad thing, obviously. So if it's down to that, I suppose Derek would win it. But if Derek's there, I think Steve Robertson should be there as well.
So do I.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Tam, out of those 3, can you pick one?
I'm going to go for John McGlynn. Falkirk, I think, to go a full season unbeaten. They've got 1 game left tomorrow against Alloa at home. To go a full season unbeaten is some feat. You know, it's even, you know, Falkirk probably one of the favourites to win that league, but still on any given day you can lose a game of football, and I think for them to go unbeaten, I don't think it's ever happened in Falkirk's history. They've went a full season unbeaten, so I'm going to go for John McGlynn. I think he'd be a worthy winner. Yeah,
well, no Philippe Clement or Brendan Rodgers, obviously. Neil, can you understand why? Or should they be, one of them be in there?
No, I don't think so. I think by the standards that have been set over the previous years, I can understand why they're not in the reckoning. Well, Philippe came in late anyway, so you couldn't really... If you'd gone unbeaten, then maybe you could have a case for him. And I think both teams have been, for their levels, have been pretty inconsistent this season. That's why, you know, the title race is still so close.
As said though, Tam, if one of them, Rangers for instance, win a treble or Celtic go for the double and they don't win Manager of the Year, is that a bit of a kick in the teeth for them? Will it bother them too much?
I don't think it'll bother them that much. I think that, listen, we know how the votes go. It's always before the end of the season. So sometimes it has left people with egg in their face, but the votes are in now. They're in a couple of weeks ago probably, so I don't think it'll affect them. But, you know, if Brendan Rodgers wins the double, you know, I think Celtic probably expected to win a double or maybe even a treble, you know, with the budget and the advantage they've got. If Rangers win the treble, you know, it'd be an unbelievable feat for coming in, as Neil said, late in the season. So I don't think it'll affect him that much. I think he'll just be happy that he's won 3 trophies.
Yeah. Well, Player of the Year nominees are Lawrence Shankland, Jack Butland, James Tavernier and Matt O'Reilly. Ruffy, is there anyone there that should be merited to have a mention?
I think Shankland's done enough this year. You know, I think he's been superb. Different player for what he was last year. He's more, you know, he's got a lot of assists along with the goals that he's scoring. So I'd probably give it to him. I've already said I think he will win the double.
Yeah, Neil Miovski, a name that should be in that list for you?
It would be for me, yeah. I think he's been outstanding and sort of carried the fight for Aberdeen all season, really. Yeah. Big goals and big games, and even though it's been a pretty disappointing season for Aberdeen, I think he's been a standout player. And my own personal preference would be for him to be in the top 4 for sure.
Who's your winner out of those 4?
Probably Lawrence. I think O'Reilly's had an incredible season. I think Butland's done really well. Tavernier has been okay, you know. But for me, you know, Lawrence's finishing this season has been the main reason why he won the beat, you know, Celtic. They won the Edinburgh Derby, you know, they're third in the league comfortably, and I think a lot of that's down to him. I think he's been outstanding.
Tam, Shankland winner for you?
Yeah, I think so. I think that you look how good this season Hearts have had, and he's not just scored. He's scored in big games as well. He scored for Scotland, and his goals record's incredible. I think he's been tremendous this season. I think he'd be a clear winner for me. I think if he doesn't win it, I don't think he'll ever win it. So this season is definitely for Shankland. I gave it rough. I think he'll win the writers and the PFA.
Yeah, well, this award obviously is voted for by the players. There's no media input into this. What do you take into consideration, Neil, when you're voting for your Player of the Year?
I think you're looking at consistency and standout performances, and also when you're a player playing against that player, you know, how good has he been against you? Did he give you a hard time? Was he a great player on the day? That type of stuff. So all those ingredients, you know. And obviously the headline makers as well. You know, goal scorers are predominantly at the sort of front of the queue. But O'Reilly has been, for me, Celtic's standout player. Lawrence, Butland's been great. It's just the one with me is like James over Miofsky's a bit of a strain. I don't think he's been at... I think he's had better seasons, James, put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever vote for a Jambo, Tam, in your time as a player?
No. No, I don't think I did. But I'm just actually thinking in my mind there, I remember voting for David Fernandez at Livingston. I think he eventually went to Celtic the following season, but Livingston won the cup that season and they beat Hibs in the final. And then I thought he was outstanding. I thought Neil saying you're playing against somebody. I seen how big Askey was against their defenders, and he was tremendous. And he's about the only one I can think of outside the Celtic and Rangers that I've ever voted. It was always Celtic players or Rangers players when I was playing. But I think David Fernandez was probably the only one that I voted for that was outside Celtic Rangers.
Ruffy, is there one player that you can remember that gave you particularly a hard time?
About 25.
It's generally what Neil says, you know, it's generally a player who scored against you from a goalkeeping point of view. Mm-hmm. In my era, it was wee Joe Harper at Aberdeen, who was prolific, and also Andy Ritchie. I voted for Andy Ritchie when he won it 1 year at Morton. He had a fantastic season, bags of ability. Had something that a lot of players didn't have, you know, obviously he didn't have the weight restriction, but he certainly had the ability to put the ball in the back of the net.
Neil, I'm guessing a Rangers player was never your first pick?
Very rarely, just for the competitive need. I think maybe once or twice I would have voted for maybe a De Boer or somebody like that, you know. But yeah, it was always nip and tuck in our day between, you know, the top players at Celtic and Rangers for the trophies.
In 2013, there was no Celtic players involved.
Yeah, I was raging about that.
You're kicking the teeth for the players?
I was really upset about that, yeah, because, you know, they made the last 16 of the Champions League, you know, they'd beaten Barcelona, and I couldn't understand why a Wanyama or a Fraser Foster or a Hooper or somebody like that would have made the top four.
Definitely. Well, the winners will be announced on Sunday at the PFA Scotland Player of the Year Awards. We'll have SWPL Player of the Year, Young Player of the Year, and much, much more to look forward to. Let's have a look to see what's coming up this weekend. We've got Aberdeen taking on St Johnstone, Celtic face Hearts, Dundee against St Mirren, Motherwell will host Livingston, Ross County host Hibernian, and Rangers take on Kilmarnock on Sunday. Celtic Hearts first. Despite not being in the Manager of the Year nominations, Tam, Brendan Rodgers picks up Manager of the Month for April. 3 wins and a draw, including the semi-final. Thoroughly deserved in your eyes?
Yeah, I mean, he's won 3 games and drawn 1. I think any manager that does that is going to be the runner for Manager of the Month. I haven't been particularly impressed with Celtic's performances. You know, last week against Dundee, I thought for the second half they were really poor. They got the win, and at this stage of the season, Neil will tell you, it's just all about winning games. You know, performances are put in the back burner. You just need to win. There's a wee bit of pressure on Celtic at the minute. You know, they're expected to win the league from the position they're in. They're favourites now, and they've got to go and finish the job. But Brendan's been there, done it, got the T-shirt, and he knows what to do and what to say in these situations, which might be the edge he needs over Rangers.
Definitely. Well, Liam Scales nearly signed a new deal till 2028. He's had his fair share of criticism as a Celtic defender. What's been your overall rating of his performances at Celtic this season?
I think he's been good this season. You know, he's played a majority of the games. I think he's been a real bonus for Celtic, because I think at the start of the season they might have been thinking about moving him on. But he's actually come in and he's been pretty consistent. Maybe he's not in an ideal world, your first choice centre half, but you know, I think he's acquitted himself really well. He's played in all the big games, Champions League, you know, and he's maybe tailing off a little bit now, you know, but I think he's had a really good season from where he was at the start of the year. I think he's been a huge plus for Celtic this year.
Well, roughly this weekend, Daizen Maeda is back fit for selection for tomorrow's tie. Celtic missed him in your eyes?
No, with James Forrest coming in. James has obviously done his bit, you know, and I know it from the Celtic point of view, you know, it looks as if when the players go out for a couple of weeks, it takes them a wee while to get back into the full scale. So it'll be interesting to see where he stays with James, particularly at home. You know, I think he'll be an asset. Maybe not this weekend, but in the Maeda, I mean, in the weeks to come up, because you need every player available. I just think, you know, at Celtic, you know, if they get the first goal, you know, you would think the momentum with the crowd and everyone would go on and win it. But Neil will know better than us, you know, if you go behind in front of 50,000, you're looking at players, you know, who are going to... Yeah, I always thought last year at Celtic at home, if they'd lost a goal, they would just say, OK, we'll get an A2. I don't think that's been the case this year. No. You know, eventually they will get the goal, but you're not 100% when it's going to come or if it's going to come. So that's the difference for me between last year and this year.
Do you think it's nerves, Tam, for the both of them, Celtic and Rangers, this end of the season? They're scared to lose a goal at any point?
Yeah, listen, it's a nervous time of the season. I think that both teams are nip and tuck at the minute. It's been a long time since it's been this close. But I think Celtic have got the edge over, you know, Rangers with the manager, first and foremost. You know, he's been there and done it. And some of the players, you know, James Forrest, Joe Hart, guys like that, Cal McGregor, they've been there, they've done it, they know how to handle the pressure. And that's why I think they'll win the league this season. I think they'll be able to handle it. And if they can go and beat Hearts tomorrow, there's enormous pressure on Rangers on Sunday to go and beat a stuffy Kilmarnock team.
Well, let's see what Brendan Rodgers had to say in his press conference earlier today. Scoreboard pressure is always there, but it doesn't count for anything if you don't do the job. If you're playing second, of course, you'll know the other team's result. It can certainly add weight, especially at that time of the season. Is that true, Neil? Are you keeping one eye on what the other one's doing, particularly if you're playing earlier?
Back in the day when it was like week in, week out, you know, if like we kicked off at 12:30, I'm sure Rangers would have been watching us, you know, praying that we drop points and then they'd kick off at 3 o'clock. But the flip side of that is if you win, and Tom makes a great point, if Celtic win tomorrow, they're 6 points clear before Rangers play Kilmarnock, and that's huge pressure that they can exert on them. So that's the beauty of a title running when it's really, really tight. It can flip-flop in a week, you know. So I agree, they're not playing at the best. You know, the struggle to get over the line against Aberdeen. They were very passive in the second half. It took 2 quality goals from Forrest to win the game, but the result was the be-all and end-all. I think deep down Brendan will be disappointed with the level of performance and he'll be looking more from them in the running.
Do you think he will stick with Forrest between now and the end of the season as a main starter?
Well, I definitely think Maeda will play next week against Rangers if he's fully fit.
Yeah.
Definitely think he will play. Whether Jamesy starts tomorrow, listen, he may not, but what a player to have up your sleeve, like, you're half an hour to go. He's just been, for me, a modern day great at Celtic.
Definitely. Well, Patrick Mullen was out at the Oriam this week to hear the thoughts of Hearts boss Stephen Naismith, as he thinks his skipper should wipe the floor with all the award ceremonies this year.
Even Naismith Hearts are looking to make it 3 wins on the bounce against title-chasing Celtic. They'll take the trip to Parkhead, which Stephen Naismith understands could be a daunting atmosphere, but believes a goal early on could change everything.
You've got to manage the game. I think you've got to be good in defensive actions and understand you're going to have to defend at times because Celtic are a good team. But then when you've got possession, you've got to be comfortable to have it as well. You can't keep giving it back. I think when you do that, you're just going to get deeper and deeper and give up a chance, and Celtic will get the quality. But like we've seen when we were there before, if you get a goal and you start controlling the game, you can turn the crowd and you can make it an intimidating place rather for us, for the home team.
And Hearts skipper Lawrence Shankland has been nominated for PFA Player of the Year, and according to the Hearts boss, it shouldn't even be a question about who picks up the award Sunday night.
I think so. I'm not sure it's close, if I'm honest. I think he's been the best player. I think he should win it. I expect him to win it. And I expect him to win the media awards as well.
It's Celtic versus Hearts. It's first versus third on Saturday afternoon. It kicks off at 3 p.m. at Celtic Park.
As we mentioned, Tam, Rangers could be 6 points adrift if Celtic are to beat Hearts tomorrow, and that's quite a gap going into the Sunday game against Kilmarnock.
No, I think it's enormous pressure on Rangers, and can they handle that? I'm not so sure. I think if Celtic can go and beat Hearts tomorrow, I think Rangers could drop points on Sunday. I think that it's not only 6 points, it could be the goal difference goes up as well. I think it's at 5 goals at the minute. It's basically another point. So I think that there's massive pressure on, but Celtic need to do their part. They need to win the game tomorrow against Hearts, which I think they will. But I think it'll be tight, and then it's over to Rangers to see if they can do it again. But Kilmarnock have been excellent this season. They've shown against the Old Firm. They've beat both of them this season, albeit at home. But they ran Rangers close earlier in the season at Ibrox. I think it was 2-1, and I think they're capable of going and causing Rangers problems again.
Yeah, well, Rangers do have some injury problems, just to run through them. Connor Goldson will be out for the remainder of the season due to ligament damage. Ridvan Yilmaz is a maybe for Sunday. Cortez and Danilo won't feature this season, and there is no timescale for Sima and Matondo. Is that a bit of a worry, Ruffy, or do you think Rangers have got enough to cover?
No, Rangers have been, dealing without them for the last month or so. So it's not something that's jumped up and hit them. They've had to do with it. I agree with Tam. But I just think that at home with Rangers, I think they've got too much. I think Kilmarnock will go and make it very, very difficult for them. But I keep saying that Rangers are just one slip away. They all going pear-shaped, and I brought it up, I think it was Monday. Jack Butland had a save against St Mirren. It was an absolutely unbelievable instinct save. If that goes in, the league's over, and that's how tight the tightrope that Rangers are going on now. They're not playing that great, but they're winning games. But I always think when you say, all right, it's just about winning games, it means you're not playing as well as what you should be. But neither are Celtic as well.
Well, Alison McConnell was out at Murray Park today to hear the thoughts of the Rangers boss.
Connor Goldson will miss Rangers' title run-in after Philippe Clement revealed that the player has torn his medial ligament after a training ground accident this week. Goldson will miss the remainder of this season, should be back for pre-season. However, Clement has revealed that his influence will still be felt in and around the dressing room at Rangers.
So Wednesday in the training was a duel. Player fell on Connor on his knee, and he hurt his knee bad, so he tried to continue but couldn't. So we made a scan, and we see he has a tear in his medial ligament, so he will be out for the rest of the season.
The Ibrox side take on Kilmarnock in Sunday's kick-off at 1 o'clock, with Clement insisting that the belief remains firmly in place as Rangers push to claim a title that had looked way beyond them at one point this season.
As long as mathematically possible, of course it's possible. And there are much bigger surprises happened in the past, not only in title races, but in all kinds of games. You can be 3 points behind the last 5 minutes of the last game, and it can change. So we need to focus on one thing, and that's for ourselves to take as many points as possible. That's the thing that you need to do.
Yep, that's exactly it, Neil. It can go one way, one slip up, and the whole thing changes.
He's absolutely right. And, we've seen shocks before. We've seen titles being lost on the last day. I know that from my own personal experience as a player. But, I don't think either team are in sparkling form, but they've got a good mentality about them. And I think it depends on the motivation now of Hearts and Kilmarnock this weekend. What have Hearts got to play for, really? Do they want to go again, try and take Celtic's scalp? They're comfortable in third. What Hearts team is going to turn up? I've been really praiseworthy of Hearts this year, but I was really disappointed with them in the semi-final. I thought they were really passive. Kelly, Derek again, done a great job. How motivated they're going to be to, get a result at Ibrox, because bottom line is it's just about Celtic and Rangers now to play for.
Well, Kilmarnock beat Rangers on the opening day of the season, Tam, at Rugby Park. Is Ibrox a different animal altogether?
Yeah, I think it is. I think that Rugby Park's always been a tough place to go. I think particularly now with the AstroTurf down there, it's they've turned Celtic and Rangers over at home this season. I think their home record under Derek over the last couple of seasons has been outstanding. Not so good away from home, but they've improved that this season. They're starting to pick up some more points away from home this season. He's got serious competition for places, Derek, in the forward areas. He's got Greg Stewart, Kevin Van Veen, can't get in the team. He's got options in the middle of the park. They've been reasonably solid. So I agree with Neil. Listen, I've been in a situation before. You're going to Celtic, Rangers. They're going for the title. Where I was at Hibs or another club, and they're up for it. You know what? You know they're up for it from minute one. And sometimes you're looking ahead to next season or whatever. So, no, I think that.
Not that I'm questioning their motivation. Do you know what I mean? Just sometimes subconsciously the edge might not be what it was. You know what I mean? And obviously it's all about Rangers and Celtic now, like, you know.
Definitely. Well, Peter Martin sat down with Kilmarnock boss Derken McInnes on Straight Talk this week, where the Rugby Park boss talks about the ups and downs of being at Kilmarnock and the ducking and diving of trying to sign players and much more. Here's what the Kelly boss had to say as his side head closer to the end of the season.
The three conclusions to the campaigns I've had at Kilmarnock has been taking over in January and trying to win a league, and we enjoyed that, and there was a lot of pressure on that. Last year, the culmination of trying to stay in the league, which was horrible, and having to deal with that. And this season, because of the players, we've now got the benefit of just trying to enjoy. I've said that to the players, I want to enjoy it more. I need to have a word with myself about that, you know what I mean? Because once the games come round, you're still serious, and you're still wanting to make sure you're on it and get the desired results. And we're not there yet in terms of Europe. I mean, we're in a strong position, clearly, to achieve that. But we still want to do it off our own bat and our own merit, and there's still work to be done. And Sunday gives us another chance to get another big performance under our belt.
Is it right, Neil? Is it tough to relax when you get to this edge of the season? More or less, you've achieved what you want.
Is it tough to relax?
Yeah.
I think he can relax and enjoy it. Yeah, he's done all the hard work. It's been a great season. Listen, I've been an admirer of Derek for a long, long time. You know, he's got longevity in the game, and you know, he did a long time at Aberdeen, and now he's showing us stuff again at Kilmarnock. He knows the game here inside out. And my worry from a Celtic point of view is after Rangers, Celtic have got to go to Rugby Park.
Yes.
You know, and that's going to be a big, big game. And maybe that'll get the juices flowing for the Kilmarnock boys. But yeah, he should be able to enjoy it a little bit more now. I think they've had a terrific season. Didn't see it coming, you know, I have to say. Didn't expect Kilmarnock to be in fourth place this year, but again, that's down to him and his team and the group of players that he's not only kept, but the ones he's brought in have made a huge impact on the club this year.
Absolutely. We'll get your predictions for those two games, Celtic Hearts. What are you going for?
2-1 to Celtic.
Neil?
Yeah, I wouldn't be far off that. I'll go 2-1, yeah.
Rafe?
I'll go 2-0 Celtic.
And Rangers Kilmarnock?
Same, 2-0.
2-0?
Yeah, 2-0.
One each.
One each, right. Okay, then oof. Different.
Is he serious with that, Ruffy?
Maybe a slip up on the horizon. Okay then. Dundee versus St Mirren, Ruffy. The game of the weekend, perhaps. Does winner take all in terms of Europe?
Yeah, I think both sets will know that if that's the case, you know, because they've got obviously Rangers and Celtic play. You don't expect them to pick up points there, so this could be a big win for whichever team gets that. And I think at the beginning of the season, if you'd said to the players, this is a game that could take you into Europe, you know, I think that's an achievement for both of them, particularly Dundee, you know, coming up for the Championship. So yeah, that for me, I think it's winner takes all.
Yeah, well, Tam, Ruffy isn't a fan of how Dundee have conducted their recruitment this year with their loanees. 11 loanee players have come in, 4 of which have contributed to Dundee's total goal tally, added 16 to the total 45. So more or less a third of goals scored by loanee players. But next season, do they go back to square one?
Yeah, I think so, because all those players are going to go back to their parent clubs. They maybe have a chance of signing some of them, maybe on a permanent deal. But Tony and Stuart Taylor have got great contacts, not only up here but down south, and they'll be phoning everybody in the summer. I think they've done remarkably well. I don't think it really works, that many loan players. I think I agree with Ruffy. Usually, you know, maybe 2 or 3 loan players. I think to have that many loan players in their team and to gel them all together and to get a spirit going, shows you how good a job Tony Docherty's done there. So no, I think that next season I think this season was all about consolidating, staying up. They've done that. They're finishing the top 6. Next season they'll be, I think, looking to get players on more permanent contracts.
Neil, just as Tam's mentioned, they're having that gel between the team. Tony Docherty's mentioned as well the mix of youth and experience. How key is that for a squad?
Well, it's really important for the younger players because they've got some talented young players there. Is it McCammon? You know, and I can't remember the name of the other wee kid, the wee blonde-haired player.
Cameron?
Yeah. Them two have been excellent. And what they'll get is the benefit of playing against top teams, you know, this season and developing more next season. And yeah, the mix has been good. They played some lovely football at times, you know, on a difficult pitch, what we've talked about. But yeah, it's been, you have to say, it's been a success story this year for Dundee. Absolutely excellent. And if they could top it off by getting 5th, that'd be incredible. And they've got momentum at the minute. I know they got beat last week, but the buzz they would have got from getting into the top 6, you know, St Mirren have just come off it a little bit. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Dundee win that one tomorrow.
Yeah, what are you going for?
1-0 Dundee.
1 Dundee, Murphy?
One each.
One each.
One each for me as well.
So just before we move on, a wee bit of side news. Dundee have announced that they have plans to fix their pitch, as you mentioned there, Neil. Rangers have demanded a 5-figure compensation sum from Dundee over the 2 postponements at Rainhit Dens Park. Rangers want a reimbursement for their 2 stays at St Andrews as well as travel expenses. Your thoughts, Tam?
I think they're quite within their rights to ask for that. I think that, listen, they've been messed about both occasions. They're staying at St Andrews as well, which is not going to be cheap. I don't think it'd be a nice hotel they were going to stay in as well. All the staff, the food, everything, the hotel stay. So I think they're well within their rights to get Dundee to pay for that, because they've messed them about the pitch.
Neil, would you be a bit aggrieved if you were Tony Docherty, bearing in mind you're already paying your fines, etc.?
St Andrews, you've been playing golf.
Yeah, I know. Listen, once is bad enough, two's horrendous. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't think, you know, on the outside looking in, Dundee have a lot to, you know, complain about, really. I understand where Rangers are coming from on that.
Right, well then let's move on to Aberdeen and St Johnstone. St Johnstone have a new owner. Jeff Brown has agreed to sell the club to American lawyer and Cambridge United minority shareholder Adam Webb. A recruitment clear out for Perth, the Perth side, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think so. I think sometimes you need a new owner coming in. You know, he's already said he's not going to be throwing a lot of money at it. So we're just looking at the structure of the club and things that they're going to change. But yeah, I think that there has to be some kind of clear out, you know, and bring new, fresh people coming in. But they'll have to decide who are the good ones that they want to keep.
It's a perfect time for them, because I read an article this morning. I think they've got 14 players out of contract, St Johnstone.
Oh.
So I think that there's a perfect opportunity for somebody to come in, whether that's Craig Levine or somebody else, with a new owner, and have a blank page to go and recruit.
There's no guarantee what division they're going
to be. Yeah. Maybe that's why they're holding on for offering these guys contracts. I don't know what league they'll be in.
Yeah, you're definitely right. Do you think that they'll be in the playoff position, Neil?
I've always said Livingston and St Johnstone will be the bottom 2.
Yeah.
And you know, they were well beaten by Hibs last week. I think Ross County have just got a bit more. They've got goals, particularly at home. And that's a worry for me all season. St Johnstone don't score enough goals.
Yeah, same for you, Tam?
Yes, Johnstone, playoff, yep.
Yep, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think Ross County have got the will at home, you know, to pick up points. Johnstone don't seem to be picking up points at home, and I think that's going to be the crucial bit of it.
Yeah, well, the Dons are in the clear of relegation after their win over Motherwell last weekend. Aim will be to finish 7th. They're 4 off it just now, and of course the extra incentive playing for the new manager coming in, who will be watching.
No, I think that Peter Levy's done a great job. I think he's came in, he's inherited a squad of players that were massively underachieving for me. I think when you look at some of Aberdeen's performances early in the season, particularly in Europe, they showed a lot of quality in those games, and for them to be in the bottom 6 is scandalous, really, with the budget they've got and the size of the club. So I think Peter's come in and done really, really well. He's got them together, they're playing for him, and they know there's a new manager watching. So there's guys out of contract there know that they've got to keep performing to get a new deal. So no, I think that Aberdeen, I fancy Aberdeen strongly to beat St Johnstone. I think they're on a good run at the minute, Aberdeen, and I just think they've got better players as well.
Yeah, well, Peter Levin agrees with you. He feels his side are in a good place.
Yeah, of course, last time we come up here, it wasn't good on our behalf, but listen, we've turned the corner. The momentum's going through the team. We're winning games. I think we're undefeated in 5 now in the league, so listen, we're on a good run.
Right, Tam, giving your prediction for that one.
2-0 to Aberdeen for me.
2-0, Neil?
3-1.
3-1.
2-0 for me.
Comfortable?
Are you teaming like working
comfortable?
Did you say St Johnstone look at many goals? He's got one.
One, it's not exactly
Give
like...
them 1. Okay, well, Motherwell take on Livingston.
Them two have had a chat before.
Converted. Motherwell take on Livingston. Is this the weekend that the inevitable happens for Livy?
Yeah, sadly for Livingston and David Martindale, I think this week they'll get relegated. I think that Motherwell will beat them and that'll be it done. They gave themselves a little glimmer of hope last week with beating Ross County. Which was a must-win game. Clearly, they're all must-win games for Livingston now, but I think Motherwell at home will be too good for Livingston, and their long spell in the Premier League will be over.
Yeah, well, Patrick Mullen was out hearing the thoughts of Stuart Kettlewell, who believes Livy still have plenty of fight left in the tank.
Motherwell are preparing to take on Livingston here at Fir Park this weekend, as Stuart Ketwell's side look to all but confirm their Premiership status. They'll take on a Livingston side who are battling for their lives down at the bottom of the Premiership table, and according to Stuart Ketwell, his side must be ready for the challenge they will bring.
Livingston to go and get their clean sheet, score a couple of goals in that would suggest to you what their mentality is. It doesn't surprise me, and it won't surprise anybody in Scottish football, that they're still fighting, they're still alive, they're still fighting. They'll still have a belief that they can get themselves out of the position that they find themselves in. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't have any doubt in my mind about that, you know, starting to create other scenarios in my head or how I would sell that to the players. Livingston are going to come here and try and beat us on Saturday. They're going to come and throw everything at it. They'll have a load of energy. They've got some good quality in their team. I'd imagine they're going to get in our face and they're going to try and get after us, and we have to brace ourselves for that.
The appeal against Jack Vale's red card against Aberdeen on the weekend has been denied, meaning he will now serve a 2-game suspension. According to Stuart Cadwell, it's an unbelievable decision, but he has more concerns about those members of the panel.
Panel that's going to make a judgment call on a decision that's been made on a football field, the top flight in Scottish football, professional level of Scottish football. I would hazard a guess that it would make sense for there to be an ex-football person, an ex-football professional, i.e. someone that's been a full-time coach, manager, player, or all of the above. I think that would make sense. I get that we have to have other fields within that as well, particularly ex-referee. I get all of that. Maybe somebody with a legal background and all these types of things. But you guys tell me. I think we would all be heck of a surprised that if we're making a call on something like that, that there's not someone that's been involved at a high level and on a full-time basis.
It's another huge game in the bottom half of the Premiership table. It kicks off here Saturday afternoon at 3 p.m.
Red card for you, Neil?
If you'd had Neil and me on the panel.
Yeah, I mean, I get what
a 5-game ban.
I get what Stuart's coming from about having ex-players. You know, I've been trying to trumpet that for a while, and I think I would be invaluable to the people in the box. But looking at it, when I saw it, and I saw it again and again, it was clumsy, but the boot's high and it's caught the guy, I think it's McKenzie in his midriff. So I can understand why the referee gave the red card.
Rafi, you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it was intentional. The boy was actually watching the flight of the ball and the Aberdeen player was behind him. And it was when he turned round, his foot's high. And it's where he caught him with the force that catches him, It's dangerous, okay, just caught him in the stomach, but it could have been elsewhere. But no, I thought it was a red card.
And Tam?
No, I agree with Stuart. I thought it was harsh.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
It was harsh.
I agree.
I thought that I don't think he knew who the boy was. I think he turned around to try and clear the ball and he's caught him. I think maybe a yellow for me.
Fair enough. What are you going for in this game?
2-0 to Motherwell.
2-0 Motherwell. Neil?
2-2. I think Livy are going to fight to every scratch.
Keep themselves in it?
They got a good result last week against Ross County, didn't they? So they may get a little bit of energy from that.
Okay, Rafi?
I think Motherwell will win the game 2-1, but it's interesting that David Martindale's already talking about the parachute payment already for next year.
Was he?
And he doesn't think he'll get much yet, so it's a lot of money.
Yes, it is. Right, okay then, Ross County take on Hibs. A much better performance last weekend for Hibs against St Johnstone. Too little, too late though?
Absolutely. I think that, it's too little, too late in terms of they should have beat St Johnstone a couple of weeks before and got in the top 6. I think the pressure's off Hibs now. I said it in the show last week. I expect Hibs to win 5 games out of 5 in the bottom 6. I think that they're the best team in that bottom 6. They should be in the top 6. They blew it, not only against St Johnstone but against Motherwell the week after. They're 1-0 up and get into the last kick of the ball and they lose the goal. Pressure's off now. They've got a lot of quality in that front area, Hibs, and they showed it last week. Listen, they battered St Johnstone last week. They could have scored 5 or 6. And I think they got with Ross County pressure on them, to get a result. Hibs can go and play freely. And I think Hibs can go and do the same to Ross County. I think Hibs can go up there and win the game comfortably. And I think they'll win all the games from now to the end of the season.
Yeah, well, 13 players to be gone from Hibernian, says Tam McManus in his column. Still
13.
13.
But nobody left.
20 left.
I wouldn't like to work for him,
No, it's surprising.
Off for the
It's
heads.
surprising when you make statements like that, you don't get people from the club phoning you.
Do you stand by your statements?
I think there needs to be a clear out of Hibs. I think there does. I think that the last 3 seasons Hibs have finished, 2 of them in the bottom 6. Not good enough, and a lot of those players are still there. So I think he needs to, whoever it's Nick Montgomery or whoever it is in the summer. Needs to clear that out and get some. I think they need to go for more quality rather than quantity. Hibs have got a bloated squad. They've got lots of players in there, and I think they need to trim the squad and add more quality and pay a little bit extra for an extra bit of quality rather than just signing project players, which they seem to be doing in the last couple of seasons.
Okay, if Don Cowie keeps Ross County up, Neil, should he get the job?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. I think, yeah, why not? He knows the club inside out. He knows the owners very well. He's a Ross County man. He's from that neck of the woods. He's got good results. You always worry about the interim manager. You know, you think of Robbo last year at Aberdeen. But I think, Don's done a very good job there. I think he will keep them up.
Yeah.
Aye. And I think if he does, then I think Roy will give him the job.
And what are you going for in this game?
I'm going, I think there's more riding on for Ross County, obviously, and they're at home. So I'll probably go 2-1 Ross County.
2-1 Ross County, Ruffy?
Yeah, I think Ross County are fighting for their lives, but I still think it'll be a draw, 1 each.
1 each, and Tam?
3-2 to Hibs. This is goals galore.
Oh.
Neither team can defend for me, so 3-2 Hibs.
3-2, right, okay then. Moving on to good old VAR. The report came out this week on the latest review of VAR decisions. From the period from the start of the season to before the split started, there were a total of 26 mistakes. In the third stage of the reviews are done in quarters. There was 10 mistakes that have fallen from 13 mistakes in the second round of games. Just to highlight a few mistakes for us. Hearts against Celtic in March. Celtic lost 2-0. Both teams shouldn't have been awarded penalties. Was that your
I agree.
point at the time, yeah? Yeah?
Yep.
And Yang's sending off was the correct decision.
See, I wasn't
But
high
by the letter of the law, it's
Yeah.
a dangerous play, so
I wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, and Rangers took on Aberdeen in February at Ibrox. Sterling should not have been sent off.
Yep, I don't think you should have either.
No?
Yep.
Okay, Rangers took on Kilmarnock in February. Rangers should not have had a penalty against them in a 2-1 win away to Kelly. Overall, St
Is that a
Mirren...
handball?
Lundstrom, wasn't it?
Yep. Overall, St Mirren were worst affected by calls going against them. It seems we are getting better, Neil, but 10 is still a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and like I said before, we need to have some more communication there. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with technology. You get to see it from different angles. You get to see it speeded up. You get to see it slowing down. It's just the decision making for me.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be getting 10 wrong. It's still a lot.
And of course, Neil, Tam, sorry, these could have an effect on who wins the title, relegation, prize money. It's huge when you look at the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and obviously St Mirren, you're saying are the worst affected. They could miss out in 5th place. If Dundee beat them at the weekend, they go above them. So there's a lot riding on it. There's managers' jobs riding on it. Let's be honest, there's some big decisions this season that we've come in here on the Monday and we can't believe the decisions have been made with VAR. So still think 10's too many. I think maybe a couple at most. But you should be getting majority, 90%, 95% of the big decisions right, and we're still not got to that level yet.
Yeah, well, still on the subject of officiating, former Premier League referee John Moss is in the frame to take over from Crawford Allen at Hampden. 23 years refereeing career. After hanging up his whistle, he took a top job as Select Group 1 manager with England's Professional Game Match Officials Board. One of his responsibilities, Ruffy, was to critique the performances of referees. Is someone like that we need in Scotland?
Yeah, I mean, somebody with experience, somebody that the other referees will look up to, because he's been it and done it, so yeah, but I think the dialogue always should be there with the referees. I'm sure the referees themselves would want to get better and better, they're professional as well, so there's a standard there, there's a reason why we don't have any referees at the Euros, and I'm sure the association would want to change that and get maybe 1 or 2 at the big tournaments can help all the other young referees that are coming up.
Yeah, not linked to Scottish football, no West Coast bias, none of that, Tam. Is that an outsider as such? Is that someone we need? It
might stop the tin foil brigade,
yes.
On social media going, oh, he must be a Rangers fan or a Celtic
yes.
fan. So I think it's good he's fresh, comes up. He's not going to have managers in his ear or phoning them going how it's happening. You can just see it from a totally neutral point of view. So I think it's good that he's had no involvement in Scottish football. Yeah,
well, let's move on. Have a quick look at the English football. Liverpool against Spurs, biggest game of the weekend down south. What do you think?
Big Ange is my hero. Is a bad run at the minute.
Is the honeymoon period over?
I think it is.
Yeah.
I think it is amongst some of the Spurs fans. Not for me. I think he's done a great job this season. Just obviously they were top of the league early doors, and I think the expectations went through the roof at Spurs. But they're probably going to finish where they should finish 5th, 6th.
Yeah.
When you look at the top teams down there, I've seen them against Chelsea last night. Didn't think they were great. Running out of legs a wee bit, running out of steam a wee bit. Needs to get to the summer and needs to go and he's still got players that I don't think are Spurs quality, and he needs to get 4 or 5 out and 4 or 5 better quality players in. But for his first season in the English Premiership, I think he's done a good job. But as I said, the bar was set so high early in the season when Spurs were top that if they finish 5th or 6th, it might be a disappointment to a lot of their fans.
Liverpool and Neil are 5 points behind Arsenal, who are first, and they've drawn and lost their last 2 games, effectively blowing their league winning chances.
Oh yeah. I don't think they'll win the league. I think Arsenal have been great, really consistent, and obviously Man City are, looming in the background. I was at the game where they lost at Anfield, the Crystal Palace, and it was a poor performance. It was, first half they were really off it, and it's just been like that for the last few weeks. So I think they're totally out of it now, but I still think, they'll want to finish the season with a flourish. Spurs are in the midst of a run where they've had Newcastle, Arsenal, Chelsea, they've got Liverpool now, and they've got Man City in 2 weeks. So this was always going to be pivotal for Spurs in terms of the Champions League race. So they're just coming up a little bit short at the minute, but I agree with Tam. They've had a really good season, they're really good to watch. But I fancy Liverpool to win on Sunday.
Yeah, well, Rafa, Klopp and Mo Salah were seen arguing on the touchline in their 2-2 draw with West Ham. Will he leave at this end of the season, same as Klopp?
Well, there's obviously things going on behind the scenes. They'll know more than us. We're not privy to what's happening there. The lure, the Saudi seems to be there for the big players. The money's there. Maybe he's indicated that he's thinking about it, and these kind of things, can cause a wee bit of friction on the park and off the park. So, but I think they'll be big enough to sort of move on, and get it done. But I think Liverpool have gone as well. I think Ange's problem is that he's not winning the London derbies. And a lot of supporters will see that as big games, but I mean, you take Harry Kane out of that team, that's 30 goals? Where would they be if he was still there? So, but I think the expectation is to get into Europe at least.
Yeah, but Ange Postecoglou says his team are nowhere near at the level of competing with Man City and Arsenal.
In terms of the team I want us to be, we're a fair way off, but I'm not dismissing the fact that we have to be competitive and have to challenge for success. Every year I'm here.
It's no problem. So like if we wouldn't know each other for that long, I'm not sure how we would deal with it, but we know each other for that long and respect each other too much, that's really no problem. So and we can deal. I think we have the right to deal with these kind of things completely independent of any expectations from the outside. So we are absolutely fine with it. Assessment, that's a non-story.
Yeah, we had Jurgen Klopp on the end there as well. Tam, what do you think for this one?
I fancy Liverpool actually as well. I think Spurs have run out of legs.
Yeah.
Liverpool nick it 2-1.
Neil?
I think Liverpool will win. Maybe goals galore again, Tom.
You never know.
3-2.
3-2, Rafi?
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool, right.
So boring, isn't it?
I know what is it for you?
Just does it to wind you up.
Look at the prediction board.
But come on.
Well,
Every now and
tables
again, you've got
don't
to
lie,
throw one
Rafi.
out there.
No,
You
it
know what I
doesn't.
mean?
It never does it.
Right, at the top of the show, I asked you best and worst debuts that you could remember. Can you, a few at the top of your heads?
I remember Rooney making his debut for Man United.
Yeah.
Again, I think it was Fenerbahce, and he scored a hat-trick. I think United won it 6 or 7-0.
Yeah.
And he was only 18. I thought, wow, what an introduction, like, Champions League debut, bump. So that was one of the best ones I can spring to mind on that one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Tom, any?
Didier Agath for Hibs. He came in trial with Alec McLeish and he was hopeless in training, like terrible. And I didn't think Alec was. I was a striker at the time. I was thinking he's not going to sign him.
No. And
he gave him a 3-month deal. And then we played his home debut was against Dundee, and he ran amok. He played him through the middle, and he was absolutely unbelievable. I think he scored two. He scored 2 the week after against Dundee United, and then he went to Celtic for 50 grand, which is an absolute steal. But Didier Agath for me for Hibs, best debut I've ever seen. Unbelievable.
Rafi, can you think of any?
The worst one I can think of is a long time ago, and I'm hoping I get the player right. Celtic signed him for Aberdeen, and the first game he played for Celtic, he scored 2 own goals.
Oh wow.
Wally Gardner.
Oh dear, not the way you want it to go, Tam. Who was your debut against for Hibs? Can you remember?
My first start was against Hearts at Tynecastle.
Ah, Yes,
we lost 2-1. We lost 2-1, but I got man of the match on. It was alive in Sky.
That's no good, Tom.
I know, I was. I was playing against Gary Naismith, who went to Everton that summer, and but that was my debut. Alex McLeish threw me in against Hearts last game of the season at Tynecastle.
No better way to learn than there. Neil, what was yours for Celtic? Dundee
Dundee on a snowy December night.
Oh, lovely.
Dyed white hair and all that.
Yeah, you couldn't see me because of the snow. We won. Didier got the winner.
Was it? Did he?
93rd minute or something like that. So they had a real good.
Wasn't his right foot? Wasn't his left foot?
I think Ange was playing for Dundee at the time, and the Madza and Mansard.
They were a good side.
So a really good side. So it was a great experience.
Yeah, Raphael, what was your
first game? My first game was end of the season game with Thistle. 2 games to go, and I get thrown in against Morton. I think it was at Firhill. I think I was only 13.
Right.
13.
You
just never knew nowadays.
No, I was 16.
You were 16.
I played the last 2 games of the season.
And was it a good debut?
I think it was a draw. I think it was a draw.
I made my first professional debut for Man City at 16.
Wow.
I know.
Against who?
Against Birmingham.
Oh, very nice. Well, that brings us to the end of the show for today.
Sorry.
Cheek of it. We'd love to hear your thoughts on debuts and much more. Be sure to subscribe to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel where you've got all the breaking news at your very fingertips. Shows galore. We have the football show, of course, the women's football show, the European show, the Saturday morning preview show with Ruffy and Tam, the journos, and much, much more. On behalf of myself, Tam, Neil and Ruffy, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.